Hello, Chris Packham here. Now, I've always had a keen interest in mushrooms and fungi. I was taken as a child on an expedition to Denny Wood in the New Forest under the tutelage of a man called Professor Manners. He was tall, he was eloquent, and he was extremely knowledgeable when it came to mycology. I also went to Southampton University many years later, where he taught me. It was a thrilling trip because I'd seen these things growing in the woods before, but been warned by my parents, not to touch and certainly not to taste. But going out with Dr. Manners was a revelation. However, my interest drifted towards birds and mammal ecology, and so I've never become anything close to being an expert in this field. But obviously learning from experts is the greatest joy in life. So last autumn, many of you will have noticed there was an extraordinary abundance of fruiting bodies about, and I took a greater interest and I made a few little videos for my social media platform, and through that I got to meet Andy at Jurassic Coast Mushrooms, and I've got something to show you which I'm really pleased with. I got one of their boxes, and look at this, look at that, yes, erupting from the box there. Now, what excites me about this is that you might just be able to see the name under the bottom there. This is coral tooth fungus, and this was a fungal body that I never thought I would see because it's extraordinarily rare. Now, all of those years ago, when I was about 11 in Denny Wood, Dr. Manners showed us Herasium mushroom. It was the lion's mane mushroom, and told us how rare it was. But this is a closely related species and equally rare. This was cloned from the only known specimen in Dorset. Now, the key thing to say is that that was perfectly legal, and in fact a very good idea. This mushroom is not protected in the UK, which seems a bit of an oversight from my perspective. The benefit now is that should it ever become extinct in the wild, and that could be as easily as the tree blowing down, that's what happened in Denny with that lion's mane specimen that was there, then it could be reintroduced using the stock from Jurassic Coast mushrooms. What's it doing in a box like this? Why have I been, cultivating this? And I have to say I've done very little work. All I've done really is torn the flap of the cardboard off, slashed an X into a polythene bag, and then added water. Jurassic Coast mushrooms have done all the hard work and I've added the water, and this is growing, and this is because it's edible. Yeah. And in fact, Andy's sending me a recipe so that I can cook this like salt and pepper squid, which is not something I've had for a very long time, as I'm a plant-based person. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Apparently it's going to grow a bit bigger. I've got to give it another couple of days. I'm already getting impatient, but I thought you'd like to see that. It's very impressive indeed. It doesn't have a characteristic scent, I've got to tell you. It just smells like pretty much, maybe slightly sweeter than some fungal fruiting bodies. And apparently it's got a taste which is a little bit radish-like. Anyway, I also went on one of Andy's little events, and we were all there, and we seeded some spores in some bags of rice and other medium, and then we took some plugs and we put them into logs. My log is out in the garden. I've been checking it regularly. No action yet, but given the success of the box, I'm sure that it's going to be forthcoming. What else can you get from Jurassic Coast? So I've got one of their little leaflets here. Obviously you've got the native mushrooms. I should say, when it comes to the boxes, there are about 7 choices. Of course, they're all edible varieties, and that was pretty simple. I just put that in my boot room where it's warm but not too dry, and it seems to be doing really well there. Liquid and agar cultures, grain spawn. I think that might be similar to the stuff that I've got in the rice bag. Ready to fruit grow kits, this one, cultivation supplies, and all sorts of equipment. And obviously some of the mushrooms which you can grow are not just edible, they have medicinal values as well. So yeah, very excited, and I should be certainly getting some more boxes from Jurassic Coast Mushrooms.